She sent an ultrasound to the Mafia boss. By mistake, he sent an helicopter and said, "Let's go now." Part 2. Part 1. Sophia awoke to the sound of seagulls and the smell of fresh coffee. For a blissful 30 seconds, she forgot where she was. Then memory came flooding back. The helicopter, the island, the kiss, and she buried her face in the obscenely comfortable pillow with a groan. What was she doing? She was 9 weeks pregnant with her ex-boyfriend's baby. She had a life in Seattle, a job, responsibilities. She absolutely should not be kissing mafia bosses on moonlit terraces like she was the heroine in some ridiculous romance novel. And yet, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. She'd plugged it in before bed and it had finally charged. 17 missed texts from Jessica, each one more panicked than the last. "Jessica, are you alive?" "Jessica, Sophia Marie Chen, answer your phone." "Jessica, I swear to God, if you've been murdered, I'm going to kill you." "Jessica, that doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean." "Jessica, okay, I'm calling the FBI." "Jessica, wait, no, I'm calling the Coast Guard." "Jessica, do islands have 911? Sophia quickly typed out a response. "Sophia, I'm fine, alive, not murdered. The island is beautiful, and Julia is sweet, and everything is fine." The response came back immediately. "Jessica, fine? You disappeared with a mafia boss, and all you can say is fine." "Jessica, what happened? Did he threaten you? Are you being held against your will? Blink twice if you need rescue." "Sophia, I can't blink through text messages, Jess." "Jessica, don't get cute with me. Details, now." Sophia hesitated, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. What could she even say? That Marcello had kissed her, and it had been the best kiss of her entire life. That she'd barely slept, because she kept replaying it in her mind. That she was starting to think coming here wasn't entirely about helping Julia. "Sophia, he's actually kind of sweet. In a terrifying, overprotective, probably criminal way." "Jessica, oh no." "Sophia, what?" "Jessica, you like him. You like him." "Sophia, I do not." "Jessica, you absolutely do. I can tell from your texting patterns. You get all formal and defensive when you're catching feelings." "Sophia, that's ridiculous. I barely know him." "Jessica, how's Marcus going to feel about this?" The mention of Marcus was like cold water. Sophia stared at her phone, guilt churning in her stomach. She still hadn't told him about the baby. Still hadn't even tried to reach him after yesterday's disaster. "Sophia, Marcus made his choice when he left. This has nothing to do with him." "Jessica, babe, you're carrying his child. It has everything to do with him." "Jessica, promise me you'll be careful, please. I love you and I don't want to see you hurt." "Sophia, I promise. Love you too." She set the phone down, her brief moment of happiness evaporating. Jessica was right. She needed to tell Marcus, needed to figure out that situation before she even thought about whatever this thing with Luca was. A soft knock on the door interrupted her spiraling thoughts. "Sophia," Julia's voice, bright and cheerful. "Are you awake? Luca made breakfast." Well, Chef Marco made breakfast, but Luca supervised very intensely, so basically the same thing. Despite everything, Sophia smiled. "I'll be down in 10 minutes. "Perfect. Wear something comfortable. Luca's planning a tour of the island after breakfast. He's being very mysterious about it." Sophia showered quickly, throwing on jeans and a soft blue sweater, one of the few items in her overnight bag that didn't scream "I packed" in a panic. When she made her way downstairs, following the sound of voices and clinking dishes, she found Luca and Julia in a sun-filled breakfast room that overlooked the gardens. Luca stood at the sideboard, pouring coffee. Regular for himself, decaf for Julia. He dressed casually in dark jeans, and a gray Henley that somehow made him look even more attractive than the expensive suits. He looked up when she entered, and the intensity in his eyes made her breath catch. "Good morning, daughteressa." His voice was warm, intimate, like they were the only two people in the room. "I hope you slept well." "I did, thank you." A complete lie. But he didn't need to know that. "Liar," but he said it softly, almost fondly as he pulled out a chair for her. You have shadows under your eyes. You were thinking too much. How would you know what I was thinking about? His smile was slow and dangerous, because I was thinking about it too. Oh my God, Julia groaned. You two are ridiculous. The tension is so thick I could cut it with a knife. Can we please eat breakfast before I die of second-hand awkwardness? Luca's expression smoothed back into neutral politeness, but Sophia caught the amusement in his eyes as he moved to his own seat. Breakfast was another elaborate affair. Fresh fruit, pastries, eggs prepared 3 different ways, smoked salmon and yogurt parfaits, all pregnancy safe, of course. So Julia said, loading her plate with an alarming amount of food. What's on the agenda for today? Besides Luca being weird and mysterious about whatever he's planning. I thought I'd show Sophia the island, Luca said. There are some beautiful hiking trails. The weather is perfect. Hiking? Sophia raised an eyebrow. I thought you were worried about Julia overdoing it. Aren't pregnant women supposed to avoid strenuous exercise? Moderate exercise is actually encouraged during pregnancy, Julia said quickly, shooting her brother a pointed look. Something I keep telling my overprotective jailer here. I'm not a jailer. I'm cautious. You made me stop doing yoga because the instructor was too flirtatious. He was clearly interested in you. I'm 6 months pregnant and showing. That doesn't mean... Okay, Sophia interrupted, fighting back a laugh. How about this? Gentle hiking is fine for both of us, as long as we pace ourselves and stay hydrated. No steep climbs, no dangerous terrain. Deal? Luca looked like he wanted to argue, but finally nodded. Deal. But if either of you feels tired, we'll rest. We know. Julia rolled her eyes affectionately. You worry too much, Fratello. Someone has to. After breakfast, Luca led them out through the gardens, meticulously maintained beds of roses, lavender and herbs that smelled like heaven, and onto a trail that wound through the forest. It was stunning. Towering evergreens filtered the sunlight into golden beams, and the forest floor was carpeted with moss and ferns. Birds sang overhead, and somewhere in the distance Sophia could hear running water. There's a waterfall about half a mile in, Luca explained, falling into step beside her while Julia walked slightly ahead, humming to herself. It's one of my favorite spots on the island. This whole place is incredible, Sophia said. It must be hard to leave. It is, but business requires my presence in the city most of the time. He was quiet for a moment. I'm thinking of changing that. Spending more time here, especially now with Julia. She's going to be fine, you know. She's stronger than you think. I know she's strong. I just wish she didn't have to be. His jaw tightened. She should have a partner, someone to support her, to share the burden. Instead, she has me, and You're exactly what she needs, Sophia said firmly. Trust me, having someone who cares as much as you do, that's everything. He looked at her, really looked at her, and she saw vulnerability in his eyes that took her breath away. Is that what you want, Sophia? Someone who cares that much? She faltered, unsure how to answer. I think everyone wants that. But do you believe you deserve it? The question hit harder than it should have. Did she believe she deserved it? She'd spent so much of her life taking care of others. Her mother, her patients, even Marcus, in his own way, that she'd never really thought about what she deserved. I don't know, she admitted quietly. Luca stopped walking, turning to face her fully. Ahead of them, Julia had rounded a bend in the trail, giving them a moment of privacy. You do, he said, his voice intense. You deserve someone who sees how extraordinary you are. Someone who would move heaven and earth to make you happy. Someone who would never ever leave you to face the world alone. Luca, I know this is complicated. I know the timing is terrible. I know you're pregnant with another man's child, and I have no right to feel what I'm feeling. He reached out, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. But I can't help it, Sophia. From the moment you walked into that clinic lobby, looking terrified and furious and so damn brave, I was lost. Sophia's heart was pounding so hard she was sure he could hear it. You barely know me. I know enough. I know you care about your patients more than yourself. I know you argue with dangerous men, when you should probably run. I know you make my sister laugh and feel safe in a way no one else has. His thumb traced her cheekbone. I know you kissed me back last night, even though every logical part of your brain was telling you not to. That was a mistake. Was it? He stepped closer, and Sophia's back hit a tree. Because it didn't feel like a mistake to me. It felt like the first right thing I've done in years. This is crazy. We're crazy. But even as she said it, she wasn't pulling away. Probably. His lips quirked. But I've never claimed to be sane, daughteressa, especially not where you're concerned. He was going to kiss her again. She could see it in his eyes, in the way he was leaning in the way his hand cupped her face like she was something precious. And God help her, she wanted him to. Hey, Julia's voice echoed through the trees. Are you two coming, or are you having a moment back there? Because if you're having a moment, I can keep walking, but you should know there are mosquitoes, and I have opinions about PDA and nature. Luca closed his eyes, his forehead dropping to rest against Sophia's. My sister has terrible timing. Your sister is saving us from making another mistake, Sophia said, even though her voice was shaking. I told you, I don't think it's a mistake. But he stepped back, giving her space to breathe. Come on, before Julia decides to narrate our entire relationship to the forest creatures. They caught up with Julia at the waterfall, a cascade of white water tumbling over moss-covered rocks into a crystal-clear pool. It was like something out of a fairy tale. Beautiful, right? Julia said, settling onto a flat rock. Luca proposed here once, to his high school girlfriend. She said no. Julia, Luca warned. What? It's a good story. She said no because she was moving to New York for college, and Luca was already neck-deep in the family business. Very tragic. Very Romeo and Juliet, minus the dying part. It was 15 years ago. Hardly relevant. It's relevant because you haven't seriously dated anyone since. Julia looked at Sophia meaningfully. My brother has commitment issues, which is ironic, considering he's the most loyal, devoted person I know. He just doesn't let people in easily. Julia, I will literally leave you on this rock. Empty threat. You'd never. She grinned. But seriously, Sophia, he's a good guy under all the scary mafia boss exterior. Heart of gold, just don't tell anyone, or it'll ruin his reputation. Watching them banter, seeing the genuine love and affection between them, Sophia felt that dangerous warmth in her chest again. This was what she wanted, what she'd always wanted. A family that teased and protected and cared for each other fiercely. And the terrifying part? She could see herself fitting into this. See herself as part of this little unit, trading barbs with Julia, being looked at by Luca, like she was the center of his universe. But that was a fantasy. A beautiful, impossible fantasy. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out, expecting another panic text from Jessica. It was Marcus. Marcus, hey, got your message. Can we talk? Sophia's stomach dropped. She stared at the text, her hands suddenly shaking. Everything okay? Luca asked, his voice careful. It's Marcus. He wants to talk. The temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees. Luca's expression went carefully blank, but she could see the muscle ticking in his jaw. Are you going to call him? I should. I need to tell him about the baby. Sophia looked up at Luca, seeing the jealousy he was trying so hard to hide. But not now. Not here. This weekend is about helping Julia. And maybe about figuring out whatever this thing was between them, even though she wasn't ready to admit that out loud. You should tell him, Luca said quietly. He deserves to know, even if he doesn't deserve you. The maturity in that statement, the selflessness, made Sophia's heart ache. Later she promised, right now, I just want to enjoy this moment. This place, this, whatever this is. Luca's expression softened. This is me trying very hard not to fall completely in love with you and failing miserably. Julia made a strangled sound. Okay, that's it. I'm giving you two privacy. I'm walking back to the house. Slowly, very slowly. Take your time. Make good choices. Use protection. Wait. Never mind. Already pregnant, disregard that last part. Julia. Going. I'm going. but she was laughing as she disappeared down the trail. Sophia and Luca stood by the waterfall, the sound of rushing water filling the silence between them. "I can't promise you anything," Sophia said finally. "My life is a mess. I'm having a baby with a man who doesn't want me. I don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going to end up, or if I can even—" "I don't need promises, Sophia." Luca took her hand, threading his fingers through hers. "I just need you to give us a chance. Let me show you what it feels like to be chosen, to be cherished, to be someone's first priority, not an afterthought. And if it doesn't work, if this is just, I don't know, some weird pregnancy hormone thing or adrenaline from the helicopter, then we'll deal with it, together." He brought her hand to his lips, pressing a kiss to her knuckles. "But I don't think that's what this is. Do you?" No, she didn't. This felt real and terrifying and completely unlike anything she'd ever experienced. "One weekend," she said. "Let's just see how this weekend goes. No pressure, no expectations. Just being," he agreed. "I can do that." But the way he was looking at her, like she was everything he'd ever wanted and never thought he'd find, suggested that just being was going to be a lot more complicated than either of them were ready to admit. They stood there by the waterfall, hands linked, the future uncertain but the present perfect. And for the first time in months, Sophia let herself hope. Maybe, just maybe, this mess of a situation could turn into something beautiful, even if it was absolutely insane. What should Sophia say when she finally calls Marcus back? Should she tell him about Luca? And do you think this is real love or just rebound feelings? Drop your thoughts below. Part 2. The rest of Saturday passed in a blur of unexpected happiness. After their moment at the waterfall, Sophia and Luca returned to the house to find Julia napping on the terrace, a contented smile on her face. They spent the afternoon talking, really talking about everything and nothing. Luca's childhood in Seattle before his father left, Sophia's medical school struggles, Julia's dreams of opening a bakery someday, specializing in Italian pastries like their grandmother used to make. It felt domestic, normal, like they were a real family instead of a bizarre collection of strangers thrown together by a mistaken text message. That evening, Chef Marco outdid himself with dinner, handmade gnocchi that melted in their mouths, roasted vegetables from the island's garden, and a pregnancy-safe tiramisu that made Julia actually moan with pleasure. "If you don't marry Chef Marco, I will," Julia declared, scraping the last bit of mascarpone from her plate. "Chef Marco is 65 and happily married," Luca said dryly. "Details, minor details. This tiramisu is worth a scandal." After dinner, they played cards, a vicious game of Italian rummy that Julia won 3 times in a row, crowing with victory each time, while Luca pretended to be annoyed, and Sophia laughed until her sides hurt. It was perfect. Too perfect. And Sophia kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. It finally did on Sunday morning. She woke early, unable to sleep, Marcus's text message weighing on her conscience like a stone. She needed to call him, needed to have the conversation she'd been avoiding for weeks. Slipping out of bed, she grabbed her phone and made her way down to the beach, where the early morning sun was just starting to paint the sky in shades of pink and gold. Her hand shook as she pulled up Marcus's contact. The phone rang 3 times before he answered. "Sophia?" His voice was exactly as she remembered, smooth, casual, with that California surfer inflection that had once charmed her so completely. "Hey, long time." "Hi, Marcus." She dug her toes into the sand, needing to ground herself. "Thanks for calling me back." "Yeah, about that. I got your message yesterday, but the signal here is terrible. Costa Rica, you know, very laid back about things like reliable cell service." He laughed, that easy laugh that used to make her smile. Now it just made her angry. "So what's up? You said we needed to talk." Sophia took a deep breath. "I'm pregnant, Marcus. 9 weeks. It's yours." Silence. Long, horrible silence. Then, "You're what?" "Pregnant. I found out 2 weeks ago. I tried to tell you yesterday, but I accidentally sent the ultrasound to the wrong person. And actually, that's not important. What's important is that you're going to be a father." More silence. She could hear waves in the background on his end, distant laughter, someone calling his name. Marcus, did you hear me? Yeah, I heard you. He sounded strangled. Are you keeping it? The question hit her like a slap. Yes, I'm keeping the baby. Right, okay. Wow, that's a lot. I know it's not what we planned. Planned, Sophia. We broke up 3 months ago. I'm in Costa Rica. I'm teaching surf lessons and finally figuring out who I am without all the pressure and expectations. His voice rose slightly. A baby was definitely not part of that plan. I'm not asking you to come back, Sophia said, fighting to keep her voice steady. I'm just telling you because you have a right to know. What you do with that information is up to you. What I do with it, he laughed, but there was an edge to it now. What am I supposed to do with it, Sophia? Drop everything and fly back to play house? Pretend to be ready for something I'm clearly not ready for. I'm not ready either, Marcus, but I'm doing it anyway, because that's what adults do when they create a life. They take responsibility. Don't lecture me about responsibility. You knew I wasn't looking for anything serious. You knew I had commitment issues. We talked about this. We talked about not rushing into marriage, not about what would happen if I got pregnant. Well, maybe you should have been more careful. The words exploded out of him, harsh and accusatory. Sophia felt like she'd been punched. Excuse me. I'm just saying, you're a doctor. You know how this stuff works. Maybe if you'd been more responsible with birth control. Are you seriously blaming me right now? It takes 2 people to make a baby, Marcus. Yeah, well, it only takes one person to decide to keep it. His voice was cold now, defensive. You could have, I don't know, other options. But you decided to keep it without even talking to me first. Because you were in Costa Rica finding yourself after leaving me a fucking post-it note. Sophia was shouting now, her carefully maintained composure shattering. You don't get to have opinions about my choices when you literally ran away to another country. I didn't run away. I needed space. I needed to figure out who I was. Who you were. You were a 32-year-old man who couldn't handle adult emotions. That's who you were. That's who you still are. Jesus Christ, Sophia. I don't need this right now. I don't need you calling me up and dumping your problems on me when I'm finally happy. My problems? My problems? Sophia's voice cracked. This is your child, Marcus. Your responsibility, whether you want it or not. Then maybe you should have thought about that before you decided to keep it. He was yelling now too, all pretense of civility gone. I never wanted kids. I told you that. I told you I wasn't ready for that kind of commitment. You told me you weren't ready for marriage. Not that you didn't want children. It's the same thing. It's absolutely not the same thing. They were both breathing hard now, years of unspoken resentments pouring out in angry torrents. Look, Marcus said finally, his voice slightly calmer but no less cold. I don't know what you want from me, but I can't be a father. Not now, maybe not ever. I'm sorry if that makes me a bad person, but at least I'm being honest. Honest? Sophia laughed bitterly. You left me a post-it note, Marcus. You don't get to claim honesty as a virtue. What do you want me to say, Sophia? That I'll come running back? That I'll play happy family? I can't give you that. I won't give you that. I'm not asking you to. Her voice was quieter now, thick with unshed tears. I just wanted you to know, to give you the chance to be involved if you wanted to be. I don't. The words were brutal in their simplicity. I'm sorry, but I don't. I can maybe help financially, send some money or whatever, but I can't be a dad. I can't be what you need. You were never what I needed, Marcus. The truth of it washed over her like a wave. I just didn't realize it until now. Sophia, it's fine. We're done here. She was crying now, tears streaming down her face. Have a nice life in Costa Rica. I hope you find yourself, or whatever it is you're looking for. Sophia, wait. She hung up, and then she let herself sob. Great heaving sobs that shook her entire body, all the grief and anger and fear she'd been holding back for months pouring out of her in waves. She sank down onto the sand, hugging her knees to her chest, crying for the relationship that had failed, for the father her baby would never know, for the future she'd have to face alone. She didn't hear Luca approach until he was kneeling beside her, his arms wrapping around her with gentle strength. "Sheh," he murmured, pulling her against his chest. "I've got you. I'm here." "You heard?" she choked out between sobs. "I saw you from my balcony, walking to the beach on the phone. I came down to check on you." His hand stroked her hair, soothing and steady. "I heard enough. He doesn't want the baby, doesn't want me, blamed me for getting pregnant. Like I did it on purpose." She was babbling now, the words tumbling out in an incoherent rush. "He's right. I should have been more careful, should have protected myself better." "Stop." Luca's voice was hard, commanding. He pulled back to look at her, his hands framing her face. "Don't you dare blame yourself for his cowardice. Don't you dare take responsibility for his failures, as a man." "But," "No buts. You did nothing wrong, Sophia. Nothing. He's a selfish child who refuses to grow up. And the fact that he can't see what an incredible gift you're offering him, what an incredible woman you are, proves that he never deserved you in the first place." "I'm such an idiot," she whispered. "I wasted 8 months on him, 8 months of my life, on someone who couldn't even handle a difficult conversation without running away." "You're not an idiot, you're human. You loved someone who wasn't capable of loving you back." His thumbs wiped away her tears. "But that's his loss, cara mia. His loss, and my gain." "You can't want this," Sophia said desperately. "You can't want me. I'm pregnant with another man's baby. I'm a mess. You're magnificent," he interrupted fiercely. "You're strong and brave, and so goddamn beautiful it makes my chest hurt to look at you. You're going to be an incredible mother, and anyone who can't see that is a fool." "Luca, I mean it, Sophia. Every word." He pressed his forehead to hers. "I know this is fast. I know this is crazy. I know you have every reason to be terrified of trusting another man. But I need you to hear me when I say this. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not running. I'm here, and I'm staying, and nothing is going to change that. You don't know what you're saying. The novelty will wear off. You'll realize how complicated this is. I've built an empire from nothing. I've survived assassination attempts and FBI investigations and hostile takeovers. I think I can handle complicated." His smile was gentle, despite his words. "Besides, I told you, when I commit to something, I commit fully, and I'm committing to you, Sophia Chen. To you and your baby, and whatever messy, beautiful future we can build together. What if it doesn't work? What if we're just caught up in the moment and in 6 months you realize you made a mistake? Then we'll deal with it, together." He kissed her forehead. "But I don't think that's going to happen. Do you know why?" "Why?" "Because I've never felt like this before. Like I'd burn down the world to keep you safe. Like your happiness matters more than my own. Like I've been waiting my entire life for you to accidentally text me a baby picture." He smiled at her stunned expression. "That's not something that just wears off, Kara. That's forever." Sophia stared at him, this dangerous, powerful man who was looking at her like she hung the moon, and felt something crack open in her chest. Hope, terrifying, overwhelming hope. "I'm scared," she whispered. "I know, so am I." "You? Scared? The big bad Mafia boss?" "Terrified," he admitted. "I've never felt this vulnerable before. Never wanted someone, this badly. Never had so much to lose. What if I'm not worth it?" "You are," he said it with such absolute certainty that she almost believed him. "You're worth everything, Sophia. Every risk, every fear, every possible complication. You're worth it." And then he was kissing her, soft and sweet and devastating, and Sophia was kissing him back, pouring all her fear and hope and desperate longing into the kiss. They broke apart when they heard a polite cough. Julia stood a few feet away, looking apologetic. "Sorry to interrupt, but, there's a situation." Luca was on his feet immediately, his entire demeanor shifting from gentle lover to dangerous protector. "What kind of situation?" "The kind where someone just landed a helicopter on our helipad without permission, and he's demanding to see Sophia." Julia bit her lip, He says his name is Marcus Chen, and he's not leaving until he talks to her. Sophia's stomach dropped. What? Yeah, he somehow tracked you here, and he brought friends. Julia looked worried. Friends with cameras. Cameras? Luca's voice was deadly quiet. Paparazzi, I think. I don't know how he found them, or why he brought them, but there are 3 guys with cameras, and Marcus is making a scene, saying you kidnapped his girlfriend and his baby. Oh my God. Sophia felt like she was going to be sick. He's trying to create a scandal, force you to let me go by making this public. Luca's expression was terrifying. He just made the biggest mistake of his life. Before Sophia could stop him, he was striding toward the house, his entire body radiating controlled fury. And Sophia, her heart pounding and her mind racing, had no choice but to follow. This was about to get very, very bad. The scene at the front of the house was chaos. Marcus stood near the helipad, looking tan and fit in board shorts and a graphic tee, his sun-bleached hair styled in that deliberately messy way that probably took an hour. 3 men with professional cameras flanked him, snapping photos of everything. When he saw Sophia, his face lit up with perfectly performed concern. Sophia, thank God you're okay. He started toward her, but Luca stepped between them, a wall of protective fury. You're trespassing, Luca said quietly. Leave, now. I'm not going anywhere without my girlfriend. Marcus's voice was loud, clearly meant for the cameras. I don't know what you told her or how you convinced her to come here, but she's pregnant with my child, and I have a right. You have no rights, Luca interrupted, his voice deadly calm. You gave up those rights when you told her you didn't want the baby 30 minutes ago. I heard every word. Marcus's expression flickered, a flash of panic before the concerned boyfriend mask slid back into place. I was upset. I didn't mean those things. Sophia knows I love her. You left her a post-it note, Luca said flatly. You fled to another country. You blamed her for getting pregnant. Those aren't the actions of a man in love. This is between me and Sophia. It has nothing to do with you. Wrong. Luca took a step forward, and even from several feet away, Sophia could feel the danger radiating off him. You made it my business when you brought cameras onto my private property. When you tried to turn this into a public spectacle. When you threatened the woman I love. The entire world seemed to stop. The woman I love. He'd said it, out loud, in front of Marcus and the paparazzi and God and everyone. Marcus's face went red. You love her? You've known her for what, 2 days? Long enough to know she deserves better than you. Luca's smile was sharp as a knife. Long enough to know I'll spend the rest of my life making sure she never doubts her worth again. This is insane. Marcus gestured wildly. Sophia, come on. You can't seriously be falling for this. He's a criminal. Everyone knows the Romano family is connected to organized crime. Is that really the environment you want to raise our child in? Sophia had been silent through the entire exchange, too shocked to speak. But at Marcus using their baby as a weapon, she felt something inside her snap. Our child? She stepped forward, her voice shaking with rage. Our child? You told me to get rid of it, Marcus. You said you never wanted kids. You said I should have been more careful. Those were your exact words. The cameras swiveled toward her. Marcus's expression faltered. I was upset. I didn't mean... Yes, you did. You meant every word. Sophia's voice grew stronger. You've never wanted this baby. You've never wanted me. The only reason you're here now is because you realized you could use this situation to get attention, to make yourself look like the victim. That's not true, isn't it? She laughed bitterly. You brought paparazzi, Marcus, to a private island. You're literally staging a scene for the cameras. Don't insult my intelligence by pretending this is about our baby or our relationship. This is about your ego. Sophia. No, you don't get to Sophia's me anymore. You made your choice. You chose surfing in Costa Rica over building a life with me. You chose freedom over responsibility. You chose yourself over us. She took a shaky breath. And you know what? I'm glad, because it showed me exactly who you are. And you're not someone I want raising my child. Marcus's face was a mask of shock and fury. You can't keep me from my kid. I have rights. You have the right to pay child support, Luca interjected smoothly, which my lawyers will be happy to arrange. Beyond that, you have exactly as much involvement as Sophia grants you, and given that you just tried to blackmail her with paparazzi on my private property, I'm guessing she's not feeling particularly generous right now. You can't. I can. I already have. Luca pulled out his phone, showing Marcus something on the screen. That's footage from my security cameras of you admitting you don't want the baby, of you blaming Sophia for the pregnancy, of you arranging this little media circus, all time-stamped and admissible in court. His smile was vicious. Try for custody. Please. I would love to see you explain all of this to a judge. Marcus stared at the phone, his face going pale. You recorded our conversation. My island. My security system. You should have read the signs at the helipad. Luca pocketed his phone. Now get off my property before I have you arrested for trespassing, and take your media friends with you. You don't scare me. I should. Luca's voice dropped to something dangerous. Because if you ever come near Sophia again, if you ever try to use her or her child for your pathetic ego, I will destroy you, not physically. That would be too kind. I'll destroy your reputation, your business prospects, your entire future. By the time I'm done, you'll be lucky to teach surf lessons to tourists. Do you understand me? The silence was deafening. Marcus looked at Sophia, clearly expecting her to intervene, to soften the blow. She crossed her arms and said nothing. Fine. Marcus finally spat. Keep her. She's not worth this drama anyway. He turned to the paparazzi. Come on. We're done here. As they loaded back into the helicopter, a much cheaper model than Luca's, Sophia noted with petty satisfaction, Marcus looked back one last time. You'll regret this, Sophia, when you realize what he really is, what his world really involves. You'll wish you'd chosen me. I doubt that, Sophia said quietly. But even if I do, at least I'll have chosen someone who actually wanted me. The helicopter lifted off, leaving blessed silence in its wake. For a long moment, nobody moved. Then Julia let out a low whistle. Well, that was dramatic. Very telenovela. I'm kind of impressed. She looked between Luca and Sophia. So you two want to talk about the whole woman I love bomb that just got dropped? Because I have thoughts. Many thoughts. But Sophia wasn't looking at Julia. She was looking at Luca, her heart pounding, her mind reeling. Did you mean it? She asked quietly. What you said to Marcus? Or were you just trying to scare him off? Luca's expression softened. He closed the distance between them, cupping her face in his hands. I meant every word, Sophia Chen. I love you. I know it's too soon and too fast and possibly insane, but I love you. I think I've loved you since you sent me that ultrasound by mistake and turned my entire world upside down. Tears streamed down Sophia's face. Happy tears this time. I love you too, she whispered. I'm terrified and this is crazy, and I have no idea how this is going to work, but I love you too. He kissed her then, deep and passionate and full of promise, while Julia whooped and cheered in the background. And for the first time in months, Sophia let herself believe in happy endings, even if the path to get there was absolutely insane. Part 3. The aftermath of Marcus's dramatic exit was surprisingly quiet. Luca made a few phone calls, crisp, commanding conversations in Italian that Sophia couldn't quite follow but gathered involved lawyers, security upgrades, and possibly some very stern words to whoever had given Marcus information about the island's location. Julia made tea, the universal cure for drama, and settled them all in the sunroom where afternoon light poured through floor-to-ceiling windows and made everything feel warm and safe. And Sophia just sat, processing everything that had happened in the last hour. Marcus had come. Marcus had brought paparazzi. Marcus had tried to publicly shame her into coming back to him. And she'd stood up to him. Finally. You okay? Luca asked, settling beside her on the couch, his hand finding hers automatically. I think so? Sophia laughed shakily. I feel like I should be more upset, like I should be crying or angry or something. But mostly I just feel relieved. Good, Julia said firmly, curling up in an armchair with her tea. That man was garbage wrapped in a pretty package. You're better off without him. Julia, Luca warned. What? I'm just saying what we're all thinking. He left her a post-it note, Luca. A post-it note. That alone should be a criminal offense. It was pretty terrible, Sophia admitted. The note, I mean. It said it's not you. It's my commitment issues. I need to find myself. Hope you understand. Mikey was canceling a dentist appointment, not ending an 8-month relationship. I'm going to kill him, Luca said calmly. Slowly, painfully, maybe feed him to sharks. You can't feed him to sharks. That's illegal. I know excellent lawyers. Luca, fine, no sharks. But the muscle in his jaw was still ticking. But I am blacklisting him from every surf school, resort, and beach club on the West Coast. Let's see how he finds himself when he can't get work. That seems excessive, Sophia said, though she couldn't quite hide her smile. That's me being restrained, Kara. You should see what I want to do to him. Julia snorted. Please. We all know what you want to do to him. But Sophia's right. He's not worth it. He's just a sad little man who realized too late what he lost. Did he, though? Sophia set down her tea, her expression thoughtful. I don't think Marcus realized what he lost at all. I think he saw a viral moment, a chance to play the concerned boyfriend for social media sympathy. He probably thought he could swoop in, rescue me from the scary Mafia boss, and come out looking like a hero. Instead, he came out looking like the coward he is, Luca said with satisfaction. Thanks to you and your security cameras. Thanks to him being an idiot and confessing everything on a recorded phone line. Luca's smile was sharp. I didn't even have to try. He handed me everything I needed to bury him. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, watching the ocean through the windows. A yacht sailed past in the distance, white sails brilliant against the blue water. So Julia said eventually, her tone carefully casual. We're all just going to ignore the part where Luca told an ex-boyfriend, 3 paparazzi, and several security cameras that he's in love with Sophia. Sophia felt her cheeks heat. We weren't ignoring it. We were just processing. Processing. Right. Julia's grin was wicked. And the part where Sophia said it back. Also processing that. Julia, I will literally throw your tea off the balcony. Empty threat. You'd never waste good tea. Julia turned to Sophia. But seriously, you two just declared your love for each other after knowing each other for 2 days. That's either the most romantic thing I've ever witnessed, or a sign that you're both completely insane. Can't it be both? Sophia asked weakly. Oh, it's definitely both. Julia's expression softened. But for what it's worth, I think you're good for each other. Luca's been alone for so long, building walls and pushing people away. And you, Sophia, you've been settling for less than you deserve because you didn't think you could ask for more. Maybe you both needed something crazy to shake you out of your patterns. Luca was very quiet, his thumb tracing circles on the back of Sophia's hand. I'm still scared, Sophia admitted. This is all happening so fast. What if we're just caught up in the drama? What if when things calm down we realize we made a mistake? Then we'll deal with it, Luca said. The same words he'd used before. But Sophia, I need you to understand something. This isn't just drama or adrenaline or me playing white knight. This is real. How can you be so sure? Because I've never felt like this before. He turned to face her fully. I've dated. I've had relationships. I've even thought I was in love once or twice. But I've never felt this certainty. This absolute conviction that I've found the person I'm supposed to be with. After 2 days, Sophia said. But her voice was shaking. After 2 days, he agreed. I know how it sounds. I know it's irrational. But some things don't need time, Kara. Some things you just know. Julia made a soft sound. Okay, that was actually really beautiful. Luca, when did you get so good at romantic speeches? When I met someone worth making speeches for, he said, not taking his eyes off Sophia. Oh my God, stop. You're going to make me cry. Julia fanned her face dramatically. Pregnancy hormones are real, and if you two keep being adorable, I'm going to sob all over this very expensive couch. Despite her anxiety, Sophia laughed. You know what? I think I'm done being scared. At least for today. Yeah? Luca's expression was cautiously hopeful. Yeah. Marcus showed up trying to intimidate me, trying to make me feel small and ashamed, and instead I had you standing beside me, defending me, showing me what it looks like when someone actually chooses me. She squeezed his hand. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if this will work out, but I know I want to try. I know you're worth the risk. Damn right I am, he said, but his voice was rough with emotion. And I'm worth the risk too, Sophia added firmly. I'm worth someone who stays, someone who fights for me, someone who doesn't run when things get complicated. You're worth everything, Luca said fiercely, and I will spend every day proving that to you. Okay, seriously, I'm going to cry. Julia stood up abruptly. I'm leaving before the waterworks start. You two need to have a serious conversation about logistics and boundaries and how this is actually going to work. But first, she pointed at both of them sternly. First, you're going to enjoy the rest of this weekend. No more drama, no more exes. Just the three of us having a nice, normal time. Got it? Got it, Sophia and Luca said in unison. Good. Now I'm going to take a nap, because growing a human is exhausting, and you two are going to, I don't know, stare into each other's eyes or something equally nauseating. Julia paused at the door. But Sophia, for what it's worth, I'm really glad you're here, and not just because you're a great doctor, because you make my brother happy, really happy. I haven't seen him smile this much in years. She disappeared before either of them could respond, leaving them alone in the sunroom. She's not wrong, Luca said quietly. You do make me happy, happier than I've been in a long time. You make me happy too, which is terrifying, honestly. Why terrifying? Sophia thought about how to explain it, because I haven't let myself be happy in so long. I've been so focused on taking care of everyone else. My patients, my mother before she died, even Marcus in his own way, that I forgot what it feels like to be taken care of, to be someone's priority. You're my priority now, Luca said simply. You and your baby, nothing else comes close. See, that's what scares me. What if I get used to this? What if I let myself depend on you, and then something happens? What if you change your mind, or realize this is too complicated? Or, Sophia, he took both her hands in his. I'm going to tell you something my mother told me before she died. She said, Luca, you spend so much time protecting yourself from being hurt that you forget to live. Sometimes you have to take the risk. Sometimes you have to jump off the cliff and trust that either you'll learn to fly or someone will catch you. That's beautiful. She was talking about my business ventures at the time, telling me to be less cautious with investments. His smile was soft, but I think it applies here too. Jump, Sophia. I promise I'll catch you. Sophia looked at this man, this dangerous, powerful, surprisingly gentle man who'd hijacked her life with a helicopter and somehow stolen her heart in the process, and made a decision. She leaned forward and kissed him. It was different from their other kisses, not desperate or urgent or fueled by drama. This was slow and sweet and full of promise. A kiss that said, I'm choosing you. A kiss that said, I trust you. A kiss that said, let's build something together. When they finally broke apart, both slightly breathless, Luca rested his forehead against hers. Stay, he said quietly. Not just for the weekend. Stay here. Move in. Let me take care of you and the baby. Let me show you what it's like to be loved the way you deserve. Sophia's heart stuttered. Luca, that's a lot. I know, and I know it's too soon. I know you need time to process everything that's happened. I know you have a life in Seattle, a job, responsibilities. He pulled back slightly to look at her, but I also know that I don't want to waste a single day when I could be with you. So I'm asking, stay. I can't just quit my job. I have connections at every major hospital in Seattle. I can get you a position anywhere you want, with better pay and benefits than you have now. Or, he hesitated, or you could work at the clinic here on the island. We have a small medical facility that serves the local community. They've been looking for an OB-GYN for months. The pay is excellent, the hours are flexible, and you'd be 10 minutes from home. Home, Sophia repeated softly. Yes, home with me. With Julia until she has her baby and gets her own place. With our family. Our family. The words made something warm bloom in Sophia's chest. What about my apartment? My things? My cat? We'll send movers to pack everything. Your cat is welcome. I happen to like cats. And your apartment lease is month to month, yes? So you can give notice whenever you're ready. You've really thought this through. I've thought of nothing else since yesterday. He smiled ruefully. I told you, when I commit fully. I don't do anything halfway. Sophia knew she should be terrified. Should be running in the opposite direction from this intense, overwhelming man who wanted to reorganize her entire life after 2 days. But instead, she felt hope. Real fragile, beautiful hope. I need to think about it, she said carefully. This is a huge decision, life-changing. I can't just... I know, take all the time you need. He kissed her forehead, but know that the offer stands. Today, tomorrow, a month from now, whenever you're ready, I'm here. What if I'm never ready? What if I'm too scared to take the leap? Then I'll wait, and I'll keep showing up, keep proving that I'm worth the risk. His expression was fierce. I'm not Marcus, Sophia. I don't run when things get hard. I don't give up when people need time or space or reassurance. I stay. That's what love means to me. Staying. Sophia felt tears prickling her eyes again. You're making this very difficult to say no to. Good. That's the plan. They sat together in the sunroom as the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink and gold. And Sophia let herself imagine it, a life here on this beautiful island with this complicated man and his sweet sister and a baby on the way. It was crazy, absolutely insane. But maybe, just maybe, it was also exactly what she needed. That evening, after another elaborate dinner and several rounds of Julia's favorite card game, Sophia found herself alone in her room, staring at her phone. She needed to call Jessica, needed to tell her everything that had happened. The phone rang twice before Jessica answered. Finally, I've been dying here. Tell me everything. Are you okay? Did he murder Marcus? Please tell me he at least threatened him a little. Jess, breathe. I can't breathe. You disappeared for 2 days with a Mafia boss, and I've been imagining every possible scenario. Jessica paused. Wait, why do you sound happy? Why aren't you traumatized? Because... Sophia took a deep breath. Because I think I'm in love with him. Silence. Long, shocked silence. Then, I'm sorry, what? I know how it sounds. You've known him for 2 days, Sophia. I know. And you're pregnant with another man's baby. I know. And he's a literal crime boss. I know, Jess. Sophia flopped back on the bed. I know this is insane. I know this is the worst possible timing. I know I should be running away as fast as I can. But I'm not, because he makes me happy. Really, truly happy. And I haven't felt that way in so long that I forgot what it felt like. Jessica was quiet for a long moment. Okay, tell me everything, from the beginning, and don't leave anything out. So Sophia did. She told her about the helicopter ride, about Julia, about the walks and the dinners, and the way Luca looked at her like she was the most important person in the world. She told her about Marcus showing up with paparazzi, about Luca defending her, about the declarations of love in front of cameras and witnesses. When she finished, Jessica let out a low whistle. Okay, I'll admit that's pretty romantic, in a completely unhinged, possibly dangerous way. So you don't think I'm crazy? Oh no, you're definitely crazy. But, Jessica sighed. But I also think you deserve to be happy. And if this terrifyingly intense man makes you happy, then who am I to judge? Really? Really, just promise me you'll be careful. That you won't lose yourself in this. That you'll remember you're worth just as much as he is. I promise, Sophia smiled. Actually, that's one of the things I love about him. He makes me feel worthy. Like I'm not just someone to be tolerated or settled for. Like I'm someone worth fighting for. Then hold on to that feeling, Jessica said softly. And if he ever makes you feel any different, you call me immediately, and I'll come kick his ass. Mafia connections or not. Deal. After hanging up with Jessica, Sophia lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, her mind racing. Luca wanted her to stay, to build a life here with him. It was crazy, impulsive, the kind of decision she never would have made before. But maybe that was the point. Maybe she'd spent so long being careful and rational and responsible that she'd forgotten how to take risks, how to choose happiness over safety. Her hand drifted to her stomach, where her baby, tiny and perfect and completely dependent on her, was growing. What kind of life did she want to give this child? One where they played it safe, settled for less, never took chances, or one where they saw their mother choose bravery, choose love, choose the possibility of something extraordinary. When she finally fell asleep, it was with a smile on her face and hope in her heart. Tomorrow she would give Luca her answer, and she was pretty sure she already knew what it would be. So here's the question: is Sophia making the right choice? Should she move to the island with Luca, or is she rushing into things? What would you do in her situation? Drop your thoughts below. Part 8. Climactic Resolution. Sophia woke to sunlight streaming through her windows and the smell of fresh pastries. Also, someone was singing. Badly. She threw on a robe and padded downstairs to find Luca in the kitchen, flour dusting his black t-shirt, attempting to make what appeared to be Italian breakfast cookies while singing along to Dean Martin on the radio. He was horrifically off-key. It was the most adorable thing she'd ever seen. "You're awake," he said, looking up with a sheepish smile. "I was trying to surprise you with breakfast in bed. Obviously that plan is ruined." "You're making breakfast?" Sophia leaned against the doorframe, taking in the scene. There was flour everywhere, on the counter, on the floor, somehow on the ceiling. "Where's Chef Marco?" "I gave him the morning off. I wanted to do this myself." He gestured to the cookies cooling on the rack. "Biscotti, my grandmother's recipe. Or at least my attempt at my grandmother's recipe. They might be slightly burned." "They're very burned," Sophia said. But she was smiling. "Why are you making me burned cookies at," she checked a clock, 7 in the morning. "Because I'm nervous." He wiped his hands on a towel, leaving streaks of dough. "Because you're going to give me your answer today about staying, and I wanted to show you that I can be domestic, that I'm not just the scary businessman, that I can make breakfast, and burn cookies, and be the kind of man who takes care of you." Sophia's heart melted. "Luca, I know they're terrible. Chef Marco would disown me, but I wanted to try. I wanted you to see that I'm willing to try at anything that matters to you." She crossed the kitchen and wrapped her arms around him, not caring about the flour that transferred to her robe. "They're perfect. They're charcoal. They're perfect because you made them for me." She pulled back to look at him, and yes. He blinked. "Yes? Yes, I'll stay. Yes, I'll move here. Yes, I'll build a life with you." She felt tears welling up. Yes to all of it. The smile that broke across his face was like the sun coming out. "You mean it?" "I mean it. I'm terrified. And this is insane. And I have no idea how we're going to make this work. But I want to try. I want to choose the crazy beautiful possibility instead of the safe, lonely certainty." He lifted her off her feet, spinning her around the kitchen while she laughed and clung to his shoulders. "You won't regret this," he promised, setting her down gently. "I swear to you, Sophia, I will spend every day making sure you don't regret this." "I know." And she did. She could see it in his eyes, feel it in the way he held her like she was precious and breakable and strong all at once. "Okay, this is disgustingly sweet, and I'm here for it." Julia appeared in the doorway, also in pajamas, her hair in a messy bun. "But can we address the fact that Luca destroyed our kitchen, because this looks like a flour bomb went off?" "I was making biscotti," Luca said defensively. "You were making weapons. Those things could break teeth." But Julia was grinning. "So Sophia's staying. This is official?" "It's official," Sophia confirmed. "Yes." Julia actually jumped, as much as a 6-month pregnant woman could jump. "I'm getting a sister, and a niece, or nephew. And Luca's getting a personality beyond brooding crime lord. This is the best day ever." "I have a personality?" "You really don't, Fratello. You're like a sexy robot programmed for intimidation and overprotection. Julia turned to Sophia. This is going to be so good for him. You're going to make him watch romantic comedies and eat ice cream and have feelings like a real human. I have feelings, Luca protested. Anger and possessiveness don't count as a full emotional range. Watching them bicker, Sophia felt that warm certainty settle over her again. This was right. This chaotic, beautiful, slightly insane family was exactly where she was supposed to be. We should celebrate, Julia declared. Something big, something memorable. Oh, we should have a party. Absolutely not, Luca said immediately. No parties, too many variables, too much security risk. You're so paranoid. I'm realistic. Do you know how many people would love to get access to this island, to this house? A party would be perfect, Sophia interrupted, surprising herself. A party would be perfect. A small one, just close friends and family, to celebrate new beginnings. Luca looked at her like she'd grown a second head. You want a party? I want to celebrate this. Us. The life we're building. She took his hand. And I want to meet the people who are important to you. Your friends, your family, the people who make up your world. Most of my world is dangerous men in expensive suits who solve problems with violence. Then introduce me to the ones who don't. She squeezed his hand. Please, for me. He groaned. You're going to use that against me forever, aren't you? For me in that sweet voice. Absolutely. Is it working? Unfortunately, yes. He sighed. Fine. A small party. Very small, heavily vetted guest list. Background checks on everyone. Luca. Non-negotiable. You want to meet my world? You do it safely. Deal. Sophia stood on her toes to kiss his cheek. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. You haven't met my cousins. They're going to interrogate you like you're applying for witness protection. The party was planned for Saturday evening, 5 days away, which gave Sophia time to have her things shipped from Seattle, settle into island life, and panic appropriately about meeting Luca's family. Those 5 days passed in a blur. Movers came and went, packing up her tiny apartment and transporting everything to the island. Her cat, Mr. Darcy, named during a Jane Austen phase in college, adjusted to his new home with surprising ease, mostly because the house was roughly the size of a small country and provided endless territories to explore. Jessica flew in for a day, ostensibly to help with the move, but really to meet Luca and conduct what she called a best friend security clearance check. So, Jessica said, cornering Luca in his study, while Sophia was unpacking boxes, let's talk about your intentions toward my best friend. Luca looked up from his laptop, clearly amused. My intentions? Yes. What are they? Because if you're just playing around, if this is some kind of novelty thing that's going to wear off, I need to know now so I can plan my revenge accordingly. I'm going to marry her, Luca said simply. As soon as she's ready, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure she never doubts that she's loved. Jessica blinked. Oh, that's actually a really good answer. I know. He smiled slightly. Anything else you'd like to interrogate me about? How do you feel about her being pregnant with another man's baby? I feel like it's my baby now, because she's mine, which makes the baby mine. Biology is irrelevant. And if Marcus tries to come back into the picture, he won't. I've made sure of it. Luca's expression went cold. But if he does, he'll discover exactly why people fear the Romano name. Jessica studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Okay. You pass. Welcome to the family. But I'm watching you. I would expect nothing less. By the time Saturday arrived, Sophia was a bundle of nerves. What if they hate me? She asked Julia for the 15th time as they got ready. What if they think I'm not good enough for Luca? What if they're all terrifying crime lords who intimidate me into silence? First of all, only like half of them are crime lords, Julia said, applying mascara with the skill of someone who'd perfected the art. The rest are just normal family members who happen to be connected to crime lords. Big difference. That's not reassuring. Second, they're going to love you because Luca loves you, and we all love Luca. Family loyalty is kind of our thing. What if I say the wrong thing? What if I accidentally insult someone's honor or whatever? Julia laughed. Sophia, you're a pregnant doctor who makes my brother smile. You could insult everyone's mothers, and they'd still adore you. Now put on that dress. She gestured to the beautiful emerald green dress hanging on the closet door, and stop panicking. The dress was gorgeous, flowing and elegant, perfectly sized to accommodate her growing bump. Luca had it custom made, of course, because apparently he couldn't help himself. By the time Sophia made her way downstairs, the party was in full swing. The terrace had been transformed into something magical. String lights overhead, candles on every surface, tables laden with food that smelled incredible. About 30 people mingled, glasses of wine in hand, conversation flowing easily, and every single one of them turned to look at her when she appeared. Sophia fought the urge to run back upstairs. Then Luca was there, appearing at her side like he'd been waiting for her. He wore a navy suit that made him look even more devastating than usual, and the way he looked at her, like she was the only person in the room, made her feel like she could face anything. "You're beautiful," he murmured, taking her hand. "I'm terrified. They're going to love you." He pressed a kiss to her temple. "Ready?" "No, but let's do it anyway." He led her into the crowd, introducing her to what felt like hundreds of people. There was his uncle Antonio, a silver-haired man with kind eyes who ran the legitimate side of the family business. His cousin Marco, who looked like a younger version of Luca, and immediately tried to embarrass him with childhood stories. His aunt Francesca, who took one look at Sophia and declared her too skinny, before loading a plate with enough food to feed 4 people. There were business associates, who shook her hand with careful respect, old family friends who hugged her like she was already part of the family, and several terrifyingly elegant women who Sophia suspected were exactly the kind of people who solved problems with violence, but who were perfectly lovely to her face. "You're the doctor," one of them said, a striking woman in her 40s named Valentina, the one who sent Luca the baby picture by mistake. "That's me," Sophia said weakly. "Still mortified about that, by the way." Valentina laughed. "Don't be. It's the best thing that ever happened to him. We've been trying to set him up for years, but he was always too busy, too focused, too closed off. Then you stumble into his life, and suddenly he's planning parties and smiling at breakfast. It's disturbing and wonderful." "I don't smile at breakfast," Luca protested. "You literally sang this morning while making burned cookies," Julia called from across the terrace. "You're smile adjacent at minimum." The whole crowd laughed, and Sophia felt some of her tension ease. These people weren't monsters. They were just family, complicated and probably dangerous and definitely intense, but family nonetheless. As the evening wore on, Sophia found herself relaxing into it. She talked to Francesca about pregnancy cravings, pickles and gelato. "That's nothing. I ate sardines with chocolate when I was pregnant with Marco." She debated medical ethics with Antonio, who had surprisingly progressive views on healthcare access. She even arm wrestled with one of Luca's cousins and lost spectacularly, to the delight of everyone watching. And through it all, Luca stayed close, not hovering, not controlling, just present, his hand on the small of her back. His smile when she laughed at someone's joke. His quiet pride when she held her own in conversations with his formidable relatives. "Speech," someone called out, as dinner was winding down. "Luca, give us a speech." "Absolutely not," Luca said immediately. "Come on, Fratello," Julia urged. "You're celebrating. You found love. You're starting a family. Give us something sappy and romantic." The crowd took up the chant. "Speech, speech, speech." Luca sighed, but he stood, pulling Sophia up with him. "Fine, but this is Julia's fault when it's terrible." The terrace quieted. All eyes turned to them. "I'm not good at speeches," Luca began. "I'm better at actions than words, better at showing than telling. But tonight, I'm going to try." He turned to face Sophia fully, taking both her hands in his. "3 days ago, a woman sent me a text message by mistake, an ultrasound picture meant for someone else, and instead of deleting it and moving on like a rational person, I sent a helicopter." The crowd chuckled. "Everyone here knows I'm not rational when it comes to the people I love. I'm intense and overprotective, and probably too controlling for my own good. Definitely too controlling, Julia muttered, earning more laughs. But Sophia, his voice softened. Sophia saw past all of that. She saw the person underneath the reputation. The man who burns breakfast cookies, trying to be romantic. The brother who just wants to protect his sister. The human being who's been alone for so long he forgot what it felt like to let someone in. Sophia felt tears streaming down her face. You could have run, Luca continued. You should have run. I literally threatened to have my men carry you onto a helicopter. That's not normal courtship behavior. Understatement of the century, someone called out. But you stayed. You gave me a chance. You saw something worth loving in me, even when I couldn't see it myself. His thumbs wiped away her tears. So tonight, in front of everyone I love, I want to make you a promise. I promise to choose you every day, to stand beside you through every challenge, to love your child as my own, to build a life with you that's full of joy and laughter and burned cookies, and probably too much overprotectiveness. Definitely too much, Julia stage whispered. I promise to be the man you deserve, the partner you can count on, the person who stays when things get hard. He reached into his pocket, pulling out a small velvet box. Sophia's breath caught. I know this is fast. I know it's crazy. I know you might not be ready. He opened the box, revealing a stunning emerald ring, the same color as her eyes. But I also know that I want to spend the rest of my life with you, Sophia Chen. So I'm asking, will you marry me? The terrace erupted in gasps and excited murmurs. Sophia stared at the ring, her heart pounding so hard she thought it might burst out of her chest. This was insane. They'd known each other for less than a week. She was pregnant with another man's baby. She just moved here. Everything about this was too fast, too much, too overwhelming. Yes, she heard herself say. Yes, of course, yes. The crowd erupted in cheers as Luca slipped the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly, of course, because he'd probably measured her finger while she was sleeping like the intense, slightly creepy romantic he was. He kissed her then, deep and passionate and full of promise, while their family and friends celebrated around them. When they finally broke apart, Sophia was crying and laughing and utterly overwhelmed. That was the craziest proposal in history, she said. I know. Too much? Completely insane. She looked at the ring on her finger, sparkling in the candlelight, and absolutely perfect. So you don't regret saying yes? Ask me again in 50 years, she said. But she was smiling. Right now I'm too happy to have regrets. The rest of the evening passed in a blur of congratulations and hugs and endless toasts. Francesca cried and declared she was planning the wedding immediately. Antonio offered his lawyers to expedite adoption papers for the baby. Marco started a betting pool on how long before Luca drove Sophia crazy with his overprotectiveness. 2 weeks, Julia bet. He's already planning to install security cameras in the nursery. That was a perfectly reasonable suggestion. Luca protested. You want to monitor our baby 24/7? Our baby, you said our baby. Sophia felt fresh tears welling up. You really mean that, don't you? You're going to love this baby like it's yours. It is mine, Luca said firmly. Biology doesn't make a family, Sophia. Love does. Choice does. And I'm choosing you and this baby, all of us, forever. As the party wound down and guests began to leave, each one stopping to hug Sophia and welcome her to the family, she found herself standing on the terrace with Luca, watching the stars come out over the ocean. This is really happening, she said softly. I'm really staying. We're really doing this. We're really doing this, he confirmed, having second thoughts. Constant second thoughts. And third and fourth and fifth. She leaned into him. But I'm choosing to ignore them, choosing to trust this, choosing to believe that sometimes the crazy impulsive decision is the right one. You won't regret it, Luca promised. I'll make sure of it. You can't promise that. Life is complicated and messy and full of challenges. Then we'll face them together. He wrapped his arms around her, one hand settling protectively over her stomach. You, me, this little one, and whatever chaos comes our way, together. Together, Sophia agreed. And as she stood there, wrapped in the arms of a man she'd known for less than a week, but somehow loved with her whole heart, watching stars reflect on the ocean, Sophia Chen finally let herself believe in happy endings. Even the ones that started with accidentally texting a mafia boss. Especially those ones. Can we just talk about how Luca proposed in front of everyone? Would you have said yes that fast, or would you have needed more time? And what do you think happens when the baby arrives? Let me know your thoughts below. Part 9. Satisfying conclusion. 6 months later, Sophia woke to the sound of chaos. Not dangerous chaos. She'd learned to distinguish between actual emergency chaos and the Romano family as just being the Romano family chaos over the past months. This was definitely the latter. No. You can't put the bassinet there. The feng shui is all wrong. That was Francesca, who'd taken it upon herself to redesign the nursery at least 4 times. There's no such thing as bassinet feng shui. Zia, Marco's voice, long-suffering. Everything has feng shui. Sophia, tell them. Sophia smiled, running her hand over her very round, very pregnant belly. She was 38 weeks now, officially on maternity leave from the island clinic, and absolutely enormous. She was also deliriously happy. Cara mia, are you awake? Luca appeared in the doorway with a breakfast tray, yogurt parfait with pregnancy-safe granola, fresh fruit and herbal tea. He'd gotten very good at breakfast over the past months. The cookies were still occasionally burned, but the effort was what counted. How could I sleep through World War III happening in our nursery? I told them to wait until you were up, but Francesca has opinions about furniture placement. He set the tray on the bed, then settled beside her, his hand immediately going to her stomach. How are you feeling? Any contractions? Discomfort? Do you need me to call Dr. Williams? I'm fine, Luca. Same as I was fine an hour ago when you asked. You can't blame me for worrying. You're 9 months pregnant. Anything could happen. The baby's not due for 2 more weeks. Babies don't follow schedules. I've read 17 books on childbirth. I'm prepared for every scenario. Sophia bit back a smile. Luca's pregnancy preparation had been characteristically intense. He'd not only read every pregnancy and parenting book in existence, but also taken a childbirth class, which he'd approached with the seriousness of a military operation, installed a state-of-the-art security system in the nursery, motion sensors, cameras, the works, and had a helicopter on permanent standby to fly them to the mainland hospital at a moment's notice. He was going to be an absolutely insufferable, wonderfully devoted father. Luca, Julia's voice carried from downstairs. Your wife needs you to come settle an argument before Francesca murders Marco with a decorative pillow. I'm not his wife yet, Sophia called back. We haven't had the wedding. Details, Julia shouted. You're wearing his ring and living in his house and having his baby. Spiritually married counts. Luca sighed. I should go before they actually kill each other. Eat your breakfast. Rest. I'll handle the chaos. My hero, Sophia said, only half teasing. He kissed her soundly. The past 6 months had been a whirlwind. After their engagement party, things had moved quickly, almost as quickly as their entire relationship. Sophia had officially joined the staff at the island's medical clinic, a small but well-equipped facility that served the local community. The work was rewarding, the hours were flexible, and her colleagues had welcomed her with open arms. The wedding planning had been less smooth. Francesca wanted a massive Italian cathedral wedding with 400 guests. Julia wanted a beach ceremony at sunset with just close family. Luca wanted whatever Sophia wanted, which was sweet but unhelpful. In the end, they'd compromised a small ceremony on the island in the spring, after the baby was born and Sophia had recovered. Just family and close friends. Simple and perfect. Well, as simple as anything involving the Romano family could be. Marcus had tried to contact her twice in those 6 months, once through a lawyer, asking for custody rights. Luca's lawyers had buried him in paperwork, proving his abandonment, and once through an Instagram DM that was clearly written while drunk, apologizing and asking for another chance. Sophia had blocked him without responding. She'd meant what she told him that day on the phone. He'd made his choice, and she'd made hers. Her phone buzzed with a text from Jessica, who'd visited 3 times already and was planning to fly in for the birth. Jessica, how's my favorite pregnant person? Ready to evict that baby yet? Sophia, so ready. I can't see my feet anymore, and Luca's hovering has reached new heights of absurdity. Jessica, has he started timing your breathing yet? Sophia, he has a spreadsheet, an actual spreadsheet tracking my Braxton Hicks contractions. Jessica, I love him but he's insane. Sophia, I know. It's adorable and infuriating in equal measure. Jessica, that's marriage, babe. Speaking of which, have you guys set a date yet? Sophia, April. Small ceremony. You're the maid of honor, obviously. Jessica, obviously. I've already started planning the bachelorette party. It involves a casino in Monaco and possibly kidnapping you. Sophia, please don't kidnap me. Luca will actually have you arrested. Jessica, worth it. Sophia was laughing at her phone when she felt it, a sharp, unmistakable tightening across her belly that was very different from the Braxton Hicks contractions she'd been having for weeks. She checked the time, waited. 10 minutes later, another one, stronger this time. Oh, she said to the empty room. Oh, this is happening. She made her way downstairs carefully, where she found Luca mediating an argument between Francesca and Marco about whether the nursery curtains should be cream or ivory. Tulle, they're the same color. They absolutely are not. Luca, Sophia said calmly, I think we need to go to the hospital. The room went silent. Luca's head snapped around. What? Contractions. Real ones. About 10 minutes apart. She smiled at his expression of barely controlled panic. It's time. What followed was organized chaos. Luca went into full crisis management mode, barking orders like a general commanding troops. The helicopter was called. Sophia's hospital bag was retrieved. Dr. Williams was contacted. Francesca started crying. Marco started filming everything on his phone until Luca threatened to throw the phone in the ocean. And Julia, who'd had her baby 3 months earlier, a healthy boy named Antonio after their uncle, just laughed and hugged Sophia. You've got this, she said. And Luca's going to be absolutely insufferable, but in the best possible way. I'm right here, Luca protested, hovering anxiously. We know, Fratello. That's the problem. The helicopter ride to the mainland hospital was surreal. Sophia had contractions every 8 minutes now, breathing through them while Luca held her hand and looked like he might actually pass out. You're doing great, she told him. I should be saying that to you. You're too busy looking like you're going to vomit. I'm not going to vomit. I'm fine. Completely fine. He did not look fine. How are you so calm? One of us has to be. And I'm the one who's done this professionally dozens of times. Not to yourself, though. True. But I have an excellent support system. She squeezed his hand as another contraction hit. I have you. His expression softened. You'll always have me, cara mia, through this and everything else. I promised you that. I know, and you keep your promises. By the time they reached the hospital, Sophia's contractions were 5 minutes apart. She was admitted immediately, her team of doctors ready and waiting. Luca had, of course, vetted every single one of them extensively. The labor was long, 14 hours of contractions and breathing exercises, and Luca being exactly as wonderful and insufferable as predicted. He held her hand through every contraction, brought her ice chips, advocated fiercely with the medical staff, nearly got himself kicked out when he questioned the nurse's blood pressure technique. Luca, I love you, but if you don't stop mansplaining medical procedures to the actual medical professionals, I'm going to strangle you with this IV line, Sophia said at hour 10. I'm just trying to make sure. I know, but I'm the doctor here. Trust me, trust them, everything's fine. He took a deep breath. You're right. I'm sorry. I know. She did know. His need to control came from love, from fear of losing the people he cared about. She understood it, even when it drove her crazy. But you need to let go a little. Let the professionals do their jobs. Okay, I'll try. He lasted another hour before trying to suggest a better fetal monitoring technique. Sophia did not strangle him, but it was a close thing. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, it was time to push. And suddenly, all of Luca's intensity, All his fierce protectiveness, all his overwhelming love became exactly what she needed. He was her anchor, her strength, talking her through every push, telling her how strong she was, how proud he was, how much he loved her. At 3:47 a.m. their daughter entered the world, screaming her displeasure at being evicted from her warm, comfortable home. She was perfect. "Oh my God," Sophia sobbed as the baby was placed on her chest. "Oh my God, Luca, look at her." Luca was crying too, unashamed tears streaming down his face as he looked at this tiny, perfect person they'd made a family. "She's beautiful. She's absolutely beautiful." "She has your nose," Sophia said, tracing the baby's tiny features. "She has your eyes. We can't see her eye color yet. They're barely open. Doesn't matter. They'll be beautiful like yours." He pressed a kiss to Sophia's forehead, then to the baby's. "What should we call her?" They'd debated names for months, never quite settling on anything that felt right. But now, looking at this perfect little person, Sophia knew. "Hope," she said softly. "Her name is Hope." Luca's breath caught. "Hope?" "Because that's what she is. What this whole crazy journey has been. A hope for something better. A hope for family and love and new beginnings." Sophia looked up at him. "Hope Elena Romano. Elena after your mother." "Sophia," he was full on crying now. "That's perfect. She's perfect. You're perfect. We're perfect," Sophia corrected. "All three of us, our weird, chaotic, absolutely insane family." Over the next few hours, their room filled with visitors. Julia arrived with baby Antonio, cooing over her new niece. Francesca brought enough flowers to start a garden. Marco took 1,000 photos. Jessica flew in and immediately declared herself Hope's favorite aunt, which started a good-natured argument with Julia that lasted 20 minutes. And through it all, Luca stayed by Sophia's side, holding Hope with a tenderness that made Sophia fall in love with him all over again. "You're going to be an amazing father," she told him during a quiet moment, watching him cradle their daughter. "I'm going to be a paranoid disaster," he corrected. "I've already ordered 6 different baby monitors and researched the best security systems for cribs." "Of course you have. And I'm scheduling background checks for all potential babysitters." "Luca, what? It's reasonable. It's excessive. It's thorough." But he was smiling. "Fine. I'll try to be less intense." "No, you won't." "You're right, I won't." He looked at Hope, then at Sophia. "But I will try to be the father she deserves. The husband you deserve, every single day. I'll try." "You already are," Sophia said softly. "You chose us, Luca. When you could have walked away, when this could have been too complicated or too messy, you chose us. That's all I've ever wanted. Someone who chooses to stay. Always," he promised. "Through every feeding and diaper change and sleepless night, through every tantrum and teenage rebellion and future boyfriend I'll have to threaten." "You're not threatening our daughter's future boyfriends." "I absolutely am. I've already started a list of intimidation techniques." Sophia laughed, exhausted and happy and completely overwhelmed with love for this man and this tiny person they'd made a family. 3 months later, the spring wedding was everything Sophia had dreamed of, and nothing she'd expected. They married on the beach at sunset, the ceremony small and intimate, just family and closest friends. The sound of waves providing the soundtrack. Julia was the maid of honor, holding baby Hope during the ceremony, who promptly spit up on Julia's dress, much to everyone's amusement. Marco was the best man, giving a speech that had everyone laughing and crying. Sophia wore a simple white dress that flowed in the ocean breeze. Luca wore a suit that probably cost more than a car, but looked at her like she was the only person in the world. Their vows were personal, heartfelt, and utterly them. "I promise to love you even when you're being irrational about security systems," Sophia said, fighting back tears. "I promise to love you even when you're being stubborn about accepting help," Luca countered. "I promise to trust you with my heart, my daughter, my future. I promise to be worthy of that trust every single day." When they kissed, their family and friends erupted in cheers. Hope started crying, probably hungry, and had to be passed around until she settled. It was chaotic and imperfect, and absolutely perfect. The reception was on the terrace, the same place they'd gotten engaged. There was dancing and laughter and way too much food. Francesca gave a tearful toast about family and love. Jessica gave a hilarious toast about how she'd known from the beginning that Sophia was crazy about Luca, even when Sophia denied it. And Luca gave a toast that made everyone cry. 6 months ago, he said, raising his glass, a woman accidentally sent me a text message meant for someone else. It should have been deleted and forgotten. Instead, it changed my entire life. He looked at Sophia, his eyes shining. Sophia, you taught me what it means to be brave, to take risks, to open my heart, even when it's terrifying. You showed me that family isn't just about blood or obligation. It's about choice, about choosing to love someone every single day through the easy moments and the hard ones. He reached out, taking her hand. I didn't know I was lonely until I met you. Didn't know what I was missing until you filled the empty spaces in my life with laughter and chaos and love. You and hope. You're my home, my family, my everything. He raised his glass higher. So here's to wrong numbers and right people, to taking chances, to building beautiful, messy, imperfect families, and to the woman who accidentally texted me a baby picture and gave me the greatest gift of my life, a reason to believe in happy endings. Everyone raised their glasses, cheering and crying, and Sophia, holding hope in one arm and Luca's hand in the other, felt a happiness so complete it almost hurt. This was her family, her chaotic, loving, slightly unhinged family, and she wouldn't change a single thing about them. 2 years later, Hope Elena Romano, you get back here right now. Sophia chased her 2-year-old daughter through the garden, laughing as Hope squealed and dodged around the rose bushes. She was fast for a toddler, and had definitely inherited Luca's stubborn streak. Having trouble, Kara? Luca appeared from around the corner, scooping Hope up mid-escape. Gotcha, Piccola. Hope giggled, throwing her arms around her father's neck. Papa, down, play. In a minute, Mia Stella. Your mama needs a break. I don't need a break, Sophia protested, though she was definitely out of breath. I need our daughter to stop treating the garden like an obstacle course. She's adventurous, like her mother. I am not adventurous. I'm a doctor. We're cautious people. You married a man you'd known for a week. That's pretty adventurous. Sophia couldn't argue with that. Life had settled into a beautiful routine over the past 2 years. Sophia worked part-time at the clinic, loving her patients and the flexibility to be with Hope. Luca had gradually stepped back from the more dangerous aspects of the family business, focusing on legitimate enterprises and spending more time at home. They'd added 2 cats to the household. Mr. Darcy had demanded company. Julia lived in a cottage on the other side of the island with Antonio, who was now a rambunctious toddler and Hope's best friend, partner in crime. And Sophia had never been happier. Mama, Hope pointed at the sky. Bird. Yes, baby. That's a seagull. Gull. Close enough. They made their way back to the house, where Sophia found an envelope on the hall table. Her name in handwriting she vaguely recognized. Inside was a short note. Sophia, we heard about your wedding. Congratulations. I mean that. I've been doing a lot of thinking over the past 2 years. A lot of growing up, I guess. I realized that I was a coward. That I ran from the best thing that ever happened to me because I was too scared to be the man you needed. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it, but I wanted you to know that I'm sorry for the post-it note, for Costa Rica, for not being brave enough to stay. I hope you're happy. I hope your daughter is healthy. I hope the man you married, Luca Romano, I looked him up, treats you the way you deserve. I'm not asking for anything. I signed away my parental rights because it's clear Hope has a father who actually wants her. But I wanted you to know that I'm sorry, and that I'm glad you found your happy ending, even if I wasn't man enough to give it to you. Take care of yourself, Sophia. Marcus. Sophia stared at the letter for a long moment. 2 years ago, this would have made her angry, or sad, or something. Now she just felt nothing. Maybe a small amount of pity for a man who'd let fear control his life. Everything okay? Luca asked, settling Hope in her high chair for lunch. Yeah, Sophia folded the letter and dropped it in the recycling bin. Just ghosts of the past. Nothing important. You sure? Completely sure. She wrapped her arms around him, resting her head on his chest. The past is the past. This, she gestured to their home, their daughter, their life. This is what matters. Damn right it is. He kissed the top of her head. Though speaking of the future, I have something to tell you. Should I be worried? Possibly. But he was smiling. Julia wants another baby. She's been asking if we'd consider giving Hope a sibling. Sophia pulled back. She wants us to have another baby. She wants Hope to have cousins, plural. She's very persuasive. He tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. But I told her it's your decision. I'm happy either way. Happy with just Hope. Happy with more. Happy with whatever our future looks like. As long as you're in it. Sophia thought about it. Another pregnancy. Another baby. More chaos to add to their already chaotic life. She thought about Hope at 2, running through gardens and laughing at seagulls. She thought about Julia's Antonio, sticky-handed and adorable. She thought about the family they'd built from nothing. From a mistaken text message and a leap of faith. Ask me again in a year, she said finally. Let's enjoy Hope being little for a while longer. Deal. He pulled her close again. I love you, Sophia Romano. Have I told you that today? Only 3 times. You're slacking. Then I love you. I love you. I love you. He punctuated each declaration with a kiss. Better? Much better. From her high chair, Hope banged her spoon against the tray. Papa, Mama, hungry. Coming, Mia Stella. Luca moved to prepare her lunch, and Sophia watched him, this dangerous man who'd once threatened to kidnap her, now cutting grapes into tiny pieces and singing Disney songs off-key. Her phone buzzed. Jessica, of course. Jessica, how's my favorite chaotic family? Sophia, perfectly imperfect. How's New York? Jessica, exhausting. When can I visit again? I need to steal Hope for Aunt Time. Sophia, anytime. You know you're always welcome. Jessica, good. Because I'm already planning her 3rd birthday party and it involves a petting zoo and possibly a bounce house. Sophia, Luca's going to have a heart attack about the safety protocols. Jessica, I'm counting on it. That man needs to learn to relax. Sophia, good luck with that. Sophia set down her phone and joined her family at the table. Luca was trying to convince Hope to eat her vegetables. Hope was trying to feed her vegetables to the cat. Mr. Darcy was trying to escape to the garden. It was chaos. It was messy. It was absolutely, perfectly imperfect. And it was everything Sophia had ever wanted. She thought back to that morning 6 months ago, no, almost 3 years now, when she'd accidentally sent an ultrasound to the wrong number, when she'd been terrified and alone and pregnant with a man who didn't want her. She'd had no idea that mistake would lead her here, to this island, this family, this life, to Luca, who'd sent a helicopter and changed everything. What are you thinking about? Luca asked, catching her expression. Just how glad I am that I can't work a contact list properly. He laughed. Best technological incompetence in history. Agreed. She reached across the table to take his hand. I love you, Luca Romano, my slightly unhinged, overprotective, perfectly imperfect husband. I love you too, Dr. Sophia Romano, my brave, stubborn, absolutely extraordinary wife. Mama, Papa, love, Hope announced, throwing her arms wide and sending vegetables flying. Yes, baby, Sophia said, laughing. Love, so much love. And as the afternoon sun streamed through the windows, painting everything in golden light, Sophia Romano now, felt the kind of happiness she'd once thought only existed in fairy tales. Turned out, fairy tales were real. They just started with wrong numbers and helicopter kidnappings and mafia bosses who fell in love at first text. And really, what could be more perfect than that? The end. So, there you have it, from a mistaken ultrasound to a beautiful family. Would you have taken the leap, like Sophia did? Could you forgive someone like Marcus? Or was he too far gone? And most importantly, what do you think their next adventure should be? Drop your thoughts below. I love hearing from you all. Thanks for going on this wild rom-com journey with me. If you enjoyed Sophia and Luca's story, Let me know what kind of story you'd like to see next.